How's it going, everybody? Got a fun video for you today. We're talking about the Hivemind in the playtest, just the 4-piece. We still don't know anything about Red Goblin yet, but I think this was really fun to do. The first 10 minutes is dedicated to talking about the team. I didn't want to break this up into 2 videos, that would waste your time. So just keep an eye on the timestamps if you just want to see the gameplay or if you just want to know about the kits. Venom and Carnage got the justice they deserved, at least in raids. I'm excited to share this with you. Let me know what you guys think about the Hivemind in the comment section below once you're done watching the video. I look forward to having a fun conversation with you, and please enjoy the video. Alright guys, before we get to the gameplay, what I want to do is quickly break down T4. It's kind of the kits, and then ISO 8 for these teams. So just look at the ISO 8 right now. We got Skirmisher Carnage. I wanted to target vulnerable. Argument can be made for Raider. Striker Venom, you're going to see why when we look at his basic. Striker Venom, you're going to see why when we look at her basic. Raider for Void Knight, just because I wanted more vulnerables. I think he would also make a great striker. We're going to have to wait and see what Red Goblin brings to the team. Notice, Venom and Carnage are gear tier 18. I use them for the kill-in survival mode along with Skrull. They absolutely dominated the last 3 nodes. This rework is now live in-game. So if you want to dominate that kill-in tower, you know you're already going to get through the legendary section. These 2 characters, if you don't have anybody else with the gear tier 18, you have the bio gear, they're going to be the best characters to do. The other 2 characters, we're going to keep them at gear tier 16 for this footage. This is not the complete team. This is not the complete answer to the raids yet, as you're going to see. But it's really good, and if your rebirth aren't already built up, this is definitely what you want to pivot to, as you'll see. But that's it for what we're looking at right now. That's it for the ISOs. Let's go ahead and talk about kits for a little bit. Carnage is very much the same character he's always been, so his basic is going to spread debuffs. His special is a nuke, but it doesn't remove negative effects anymore. His ultimate got buffed. It's now playing Disrupt as well as the bleeds, and when the enemy's below 50% life, it's doing a whack load of other debuffs. Offense down, defense down, slow, and giving himself the opposite effect. So it's a very powerful ability. You're going to spam abilities with this team. This is going to be awesome. You're going to use this quite a bit. And then the passive is going to be applying speed bar to the team whenever an enemy drops below 25% life. This is the lifeblood of the team. If Carnage dies, it's very hard to get back into the game. This is the only mandatory T4 for Carnage. I would argue the second most important would be the ultimate, increases those bleeds damage. Then the special basic would be low luxury. But yeah, the passive is the only mandatory T4. Alright, Venom. Venom got the rework that we all want our favorite characters to get. So he's amazing now. His basic is now filling speed bar by 20%. This character is going to take an amazing amount of turns. We really want him a striker for that. He's also going to be applying a whack loads of bleeds, so striker helps the damage there. His special is now going to prolong negative effects in raids. It's an ability block. It's lots of bleeds. This is not a mandatory T4 in my opinion. It's very high value, but not mandatory. So far we only have the one mandatory T4, which is the basic, getting that speed bar. The ultimate is, this is how you're going to set up every node. So this spreads all negative effects from the primary to adjacents. He's the last Hivemind character to take a turn, and then he's the first every time after that, okay? Because of the speed rate he's going to be getting. I don't think this is a mandatory T4 per se, but whenever your character is spreading bleeds, they become his bleeds, which means it becomes based off his damage, based off his ability. So the higher level ability you have, the higher level your bleeds are going to be. I do think this is a borderline mandatory T4 just because of the increase in damage it's going to apply. And then his passive, this is where he's going to gain turn bar, or speed stat, rather, up to a maximum of 30% on turn. So by the time he's on his 3rd turn, he's getting 30% speed. He's getting speed bar on his basic. This character becomes like Sonic the Hedgehog. We thought this was supposed to be a Void Knight's kit. It's not. It's Venom. I'm happy it's Venom. He's a badass character. Super happy Venom got the appropriate amount of love. Venom is the battery of the team. Every single ability she does is going to give energy, and on her ice attack is going to give energy as well. So that's why she's a striker, 100%. But she's also doing lots of buffs and debuffs, so her basic applies defense down and bleeds. Her special is going to take whatever the enemy has as negative effects, turn them into positive effects on herself, spread them to Hivemind characters in raids. It's also going to do a targeted stun for 2 turns. This is going to be your opening ability for that second node for the Quicksilver. We'll talk about why it's not the ultimate when we talk about the ultimate. So this is just a very powerful ability. Then we go to the ultimate. This gives you barrier. I really like this. It's going to apply offense down to all enemies for 2 turns. It gives you offense up and defense up. This is one of the opening abilities, which is really great, right? Because although you don't have full energy here in raids, actually not even in raids, Void Knight gives energy, which we're going to talk about. But in raids, this ability is going to apply stun to the enemy with the highest damage, which is cool, but you can't always know who the highest damage is going to be. You got to remember, in raids, there's so much resist in this current raid that if someone resists an offense down, all of a sudden you might be stunning Silver Samurai instead of Quicksilver on that second node. So that's why it's not always obvious which ability you want to start with Venom. I think that special, that T4 and the special to get this done is worth the T4. You're going to need that for the Quicksilver for sure. As far as the T4 for Venom, this is like super duper high value. Because I don't think you need the barrier, but when you have a weaker team, you could die before your Venom gets to get a turn and give the defense up. So this barrier coming from Venom can be very, very good as we get this team going. So it's kind of it's a really, really high value T4, I would say. Then there's her ultimate. I do think this is actually mandatory, even though it's kind of lame. So whenever you drop below 50% of life, you get evades. The only way you can get evades is with her special, kind of stealing the opposite negative effect and then spreading it. You're vulnerable off rip here, as you're going to see in the footage. As far as what else does her passive do, nothing crazy. She gets dodge, chance, or drain depending on where her life is at. She is the focus of the team. Nothing insane there. So Void Knight. Void Knight, I think, is the people are most excited for. I definitely am too. Look how badass he looks. This is super cool. He is a control monster. He's a support. It's odd that he's the support character. I think Venom should have been the support character. She does debuffs. She does buffs. She gives energy. She doesn't do the kind of damage Void Knight does. Void Knight is a support genius. Alright, so his basic is going to be kind of like Surfer's. He'll flip negative effects to positive effects on himself. If he doesn't have any negative effects, he'll do a buff flip on the enemy. In raids, he will always do that buff flip on the enemy. I wanted to talk about this for a quick second. He's a raider again because we don't know what Red Goblin's going to bring yet, and I needed more vulnerables on the field. All right, and that is not a mandatory T4 whatsoever. So his special is kind of like T'Challa, but super powered. So in raids, he'll still up to 3 ability energy. This is huge for that enemy Nova. This is huge for the enemy Quicksilver, the enemy Icarus on the second node, and finally for the enemy Black Cat, the enemy Magneto. Any kind of character that has devastating opening ability, you can use this on them to just take all their ability energy away. And because Venom is giving so much energy to the team, you can use this almost every other turn. In fact, it's going to be rare you're ever going to use a character's basic because of Venom's existence. What else does this do? Well, it's going to apply defense down to the primary and adjacent targets. It's big damage. I really like this ability. And that T4, I'm going to say, if you're going to use this character outside of raids, it becomes mandatory, but inside raids, it's just a luxury T4. You don't get 4 energy stolen here. It's just outside of raids, you'll steal 1. It gives him plug-and-play value, as we're going to talk about when we get to his passive. His ultimate, again, you're going to use this every other turn. It's going to pull everybody in raids, and applies ability block to everybody. Outside of raids, it's going to apply ability block for 2 turns to primary. This is very powerful. It flips all positive effects on Spider-Verse characters. Think Black Cat. Think, actually, there's so many Spider-Verse characters. Think Sinister Six, stuff like that. So it's a very, very cool ability, in my opinion. The flip is kind of crazy. It also will flip 3 positive effects and negative effects on all targets. So it's not just Spider-Verse. So don't think he's just a Spider-Verse counter. And he gets 5,000% extra focus for this, so we don't need him to be a skirmisher, even at low levels for this. I thought this was fantastic. This will be your opening ability. This will help you set the stage. You do this, you pick a kill target, you put the Carnage ultimate there, you steal all the buffs with Venom, or you do the ultimate, so you get offense up, defense up, and you apply offense down on everybody, and then Venom spreads it, and all of a sudden Venom gets speed bar, he's getting more and more turns, he's faster and faster, the team goes burr in raids. It's really fun, as you're going to see. Let's move on over to the passive. This is what's going to get him plug-and-play potential, so he's outside of raids. He's giving ability energy to Hivemind allies, so Venom can use her ultimate turn 1 wherever she is, as long as Void Knight is with her. He's also going to generate ability energy +1 ability energy per Hivemind ally for this character, so he's going to be able to go node to node and just always have his ultimate available. And here's the plug and play part. Fill this character's speed bar by 25%. He is a very slow character at 113 speed, but we're able to kind of bypass that with a speed bar on spawn. He gets a turn on heal on turn. Whenever he takes damage from bleed, he's going to heal. Sorry, whenever an enemy takes damage, he's going to heal. This is part of his support part, I guess. He's maximum health and armor. And in raids, this is why the team works. He applies speed up to self and Hivemind, and he applies slow to the enemy with the highest speed, that'll be your Black Cat, and enemies cannot gain immunity plus additional armor and max life. Until Void Knight exists, your Hivemind team does not work in raids whatsoever, so I assume he's going to be the last Hivemind character released. Then we could use the 4-piece. As you're going to see in the gameplay, it's going to be a lot of fun. As far as, I know a lot of you want to see the uniques here, so we got Alien Spores here, we have Alien Spores here, we have Alien Spores here, Alien Spores here, so they are all Alien Spores. Kind of dumb, but we haven't really had a character worth our alien spores for a while. So hopefully you have them banked up and you can get some gear tier 17 on these characters as they come out. Void Knight is at speed 113. Venom comes in at speed 120, but Void Knight goes first because of that speed bar he gives to himself. Venom is slow as molasses, coming in at 107, but remember, he gets 30% speed, so he actually comes, at the end of the day, he's what, 140 something speed, plus he gets speed bar on his basic after his 3 turns, so he's actually a speed demon for sure. Carnage is coming in, I think he's 126, there we go. So it's going to go Void Knight, Carnage, Venom. After a couple of turns, Venom is just going to be lapping people. It's really kind of exciting. All right, this was already 10 minutes. I'm sorry for talking your ear off. I hope you enjoyed this little explanation of what Hivemind is going to be like. Let's go look at the gameplay now, and let me know what you guys are thinking about Hivemind at the end of the comment section below. Bye for now. So I'm going to do this because I know a lot of people want this team, even the 4-piece, to work without Scroll. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you why it doesn't. I'm using Agent Venom here. He's nothing special. He's gear tier 15. He's level 95. I put him as a fortifier. The reason we use Anti-Venom is just symbiote synergies, right? He can do the revives. He can spread buffs just like Venom can. And we all know every other character instantly dies anyway, okay? If you throw Nova in here and he gets hit by something, he dies. Charges or not. Red Hulk dies. Everybody just dies all the time, okay? So I don't want to give a false impression that it's somehow going to be different here. All right, I'm actually going to do the ultimate from Gwenamir. It gives us offense up and defense up, letting us take a hit really nicely. But most importantly, it gives my Venom offense up. So when he spreads all these nasty bleeds, Void Knight flipped regens into bleeds, Venom with offense up then spreads it. It gets really ugly for our enemies really quickly. I'll go ahead, I'll grab all these buffs. You can see Anti-Venom, he can do a nice little spread here. I'm going to laugh if this is the one time that Anti-Venom actually makes it through a node. I think that'd be very, very cheeky and very funny now that we're doing a recording, but we'll see how it goes. Let's go ahead. We got an ability block here. We'll try and throw it on the cloak. It actually landed. It also crushed the cloak, as you can see. Plus, we get the speed bar. That's real nice. I can steal energy. We're definitely stealing energy from this Nova. We never want to let him take a turn if we can help that. All right, we're going to steal all the negative effects. We'll put them on ourselves, turn them into positive effects, and then spread it. You see, the people that are not Hivemind don't get it, right? So you'll notice that Anti-Venom does not have dodge, whereas all the other 4 Hivemind people do. All right. So far, so good. Let's get some energy back on our Anti-Venom. All right. Anti-Venom took a hit. At least he had defense up. She had offense down. That was great. Try and get past this taunt on the Absorbing Man. Let's get ability block on everybody, hopefully. Just further protecting our Anti-Venom. Let's get offense up, defense up. We got an ability block on the Nova. That's great. He will kind of shrug it off, though, right? So you got to be careful with that. Let's try and push the Nova. Try and get that charge off of him finally. There, we got it. We can spread all this nastiness from Dagger onto him, which is going to be just fantastic. Anti-Venom is going to try and do something. He's at least getting speed bar, right? And he's being completely ignored, which is fan-frickin-tastic. Who do you want to steal energy from here? Let's steal it from the Captain Sam. You notice Venom, she's just she's the best energy battery in the game for her team. It's crazy, especially in raids ups, right? So that's 1 energy. There's 2 energy. Obviously, this is fantastic. Carnage can do ahead and do the special. You see how much crazy damage that was? Again, gear tier 18 Carnage. I kind of recommend it. I kind of recommend gear tier 18 on Venom and on Carnage just because of how great they are here. All right, let's go ahead. Let's pull everybody in. Ability block, especially on that Captain America. Perfect. Venom, let's go ahead. We'll get the offense up, defense up again. There we go. Let's just do the basic for now. You notice you get so much energy, you almost never have to settle for using basic on Carnage. I do still like the idea of spreading with him, though. Look at Venom taking back-to-back. He's a speed machine, I'm telling you. He's an absolute beast now. All right, so he's dead. He's dead. Okay, listen. This is streamer nonsense, okay? I'm finally recording this video. This is nonsense. That Anti-Venom should have been super dead. I've never had any character, regardless of who it was, make it to the end of this node except for Super Skrull. So what I wanted to talk about here
is with Super Skrull. And I do think he is going to be the de facto 5th. Ignore what you just saw, or don't. Just notice how great the 4 other Hivemind were, at least on this node. Without Super Skrull, didn't really get through the nodes very well. And what I'd like to say is I think I might have screwed myself because I needed Super Skrull for this next thing. But we'll see how that goes. Anyway, with Super Skrull, do not use his ultimate. You do not want to use ultimate. Let's go ahead. Let's test the streamer luck. Let's keep going with Anti-Venom into node number 2. We'll see how this goes. He does have the revive, and here's the thing. The scariest part of this node, oddly enough, is that Quicksilver. It's not oddly enough at all. It's that Quicksilver. So let's go ahead. We're going to get a bunch of nasty debuffs all over the place. And now we're going to try and land a stun on the Quicksilver. This does stun for 2 turns. I've had resist issues in the past. We didn't have them this time. That's fantastic. Let's go ahead and throw a bunch of debuffs on there. I guess the big concern now would be if those bleeds drop the Quicksilver and he shrugs off the taunt. That could be an issue. All right, Anti-Venom. He took his hits, but he's going to keep on licking. That's great. I'm going to steal energy from... I mean, the Quicksilver is not going to do much anyway. Sorry, the Silver Surfer is not going to do anything anyway. I'm actually just going to steal it from Dagger because I just don't want to do any damage to that Quicksilver. I don't want to push him into his passive. I want him to sit through that stun, and then I want to go for the throat on him. Let's try and take out the Dazzler. You can see Venom just does absolutely insane damage here. Let's go put more bleeds on the Quicksilver, extend all that nastiness. Let's get offense up. Defense up. So the Quicksilver, I must have missed it. He actually did sit through. Okay, let's see if we... Sorry, Anti-Venom puts negative debuffs out, right? All right, cool. He did sit through 1 stun. That's why his turn bar was 0. I just didn't notice it in time. All right, so Anti-Venom gets absolutely just demolished here. This is scary. Let's go ahead. Let's flip all those buffs on the Quicksilver with the Void Knight ultimate. Let's go ahead. We've got to go for the kill on this Quicksilver. If he takes turns, here's the thing. Here's what has happened in the past that I do not want to have happen again. Quicksilver, if he takes his turns and he hits the same person multiple times, that person simply dies. Hey, we get to restun the Quicksilver here. That's fantastic. So now he's definitely not getting turns. He's definitely dead. Let's go ahead and use the special to get some energy back, and let's start going for kills on other people. Let's spread off the Dazzler here onto everybody. You see people bleeding out, which is great. Let's go ahead and let's take out, yeah, sure, let's take out the Silver Samurai, or damn near do it anyway. Let's steal energy from the Icarus, since he would be the one that's going to go first here. You can notice our time is actually still really good, which I thought was really impressive with these Hivemind characters. It is not Symbiotes 2.0. This almost feels like Pegasus 2.0. At least for these first 2 nodes. So, I keep saying that. Like, just stay tuned, because the other foot's got to drop eventually, right? There's no way that this team is going to completely solve, or sorry, this 4-piece is going to completely solve the biosection, because then how the hell do they possibly get us to buy that Red Goblin character that everyone is not excited about, but maybe should be? Or maybe he's just going to be the answer for the... like, how do we make this team work in other modes? We'll see. Let's spread off the Icarus since he's got just a bunch of nasty debuffs. I'm going to save the ultimate on Age of Venom right now, even though we're never going to use that. There's no chance Anti-Venom helps us in the next node. All right, here we go. Just doing some damage here. I suppose we should be going for the Cersei. We'll get her killed so that she doesn't pop out of her stun, and then she gets her passive, which is completely bypass that. Kind of cooldown saving phase right now, right? I'll actually, you know what? We got to kind of kill this Silver Samurai, don't we? All right, so he's going to bleed out now. The Agent Venom bleeds are nasty, 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 nasty bleeds. Steal some energy. Venom's going to give us a bunch of energy here and get a stun off as well, because why not? We'll get all that energy back. All right, so we were talking for a lot of this. Anti-Venom surviving here. It's a mirage. I don't know. It's just a mirage. He's never survived before. I didn't launch this raid. Is this even the right raid, or is this some first strike nonsense? Hold up. No, it's the right raid. Okay, so here we go for the boss, though. Now, here's the thing. Up to this point, this has been very impressive, right? And with Skrull, it's even more impressive. But it doesn't matter, because Rebirth Skrull can get you to this point almost consistently, right? So why on earth would I buy 2 new characters? Why would I put my precious Biogear, which is kind of strained, into Carnage and Venom, unless this boss node works? So here we go. Let's get in here. Now, the good news is, even without Red Goblin, they have made it in such a way that Void Knight does get to go before the Black Cat, and that is going to land a nice ability block on her. So we're not worried about her doing her thing. But this is concerning. You see, Carnage is almost dead. Carnage is dead. And when Carnage is dead, then we are screwed, right? We are absolutely screwed. We cannot land the stun on the Agent Venoms because the Absorbing Man resisted the flips from the from the Void Knight here. I'm going to go ahead. We'll bring Carnage back. The benefits of having Anti-Venom. But now he's dead. And now he's dead. And now we lose, right? There's just no shot we get to do anything from here. So what you end up doing, you end up doing a burn attack almost, right? But if we have to do a burn attack, I mean, we're doing that with our Rebirth characters anyway. So is there a value in the 4-piece so far? Now, I would argue, just on what the 4-piece did to the first 2 nodes with 4-star Void Knight and Venom is pretty impressive of itself. Here's the problem. I should have, and I would have in other attempts, and I have in other attempts. I use Skrull for the first 2 nodes because he doesn't get the speed bar from Carnage. He doesn't get other turns. So I actually do use him in the first 2 nodes. He might get 2 turns per node. I never, ever... Well, okay, we're going to have to back out because of fucking auto garbage. I never use the Skrull Ultimate. I don't... Like, you saw... What did Anti-Venom really bring to the table there, right? So what does Skrull need to bring for those first 2 nodes? He doesn't. He just needs to bring his body so that he has his ultimate up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the basic... And I'm going to back out. I'm going to lose. I'm going to do this 2 times so that Skrull has his ultimate up for turn 1. And I'll show you how I was able to make some progress on the boss node. It wasn't always a guaranteed one-shot, but it definitely helps. So you need to have Skrull ult up for turn 1. This is incredibly important. It looks like Void Knight goes next anyway, so I don't need to worry about the Black Cat. I don't want to do a burn attack is what I'm trying to say here. I don't want to influence the enemy's turn bar in any way. So had I done this the way I would normally do it with Skrull, I use him on the first 2 nodes. I'll use his special node 1, and then I just do basics from after that. It's just basic. You could probably use his special at least once on node 2 as well. Carnage died, so we're going to have to heal him up. Let's go ahead. We'll just use the basic here. And it should be... I don't know why Super Skrull's not going at this point. Something with the turn bar goes wonky after you do a burn attack, which doesn't make much sense, right? But we are getting some free damage because we are using Skrull, so once you keep that in mind, when we do have Carnage back on the field, Carnage died to the Firestar twice there. Sorry, I dropped my phone, which is why it flipped like that. So now we'll throw Carnage in. Obviously, we got to heal him back up. We do have Skrull ult up turn 1, which is absolutely instrumental if you are trying to use this team. And here's where we need to talk about what is Red Goblin going to bring to this team that's going to make it work. Well, they need to have defense up on spawn. Now, they have great ways to get defense up. I don't understand why Skrull is not going first, and he did on the first attack. I don't know what's going on with the speed bar. There's something wonky. I'm gonna ask one of the developers. I don't know. Did one of these characters spawn with more buffs the first time they spawn in? I'm not sure. Skrull, I feel like, should be going first, but whatever. Okay. They need to have defense up on spawn. They possibly need to have a safeguard, or they need to have a way to do what Skrull is going to do here, which is basically going to be to give offense down to that Black Cat before she goes. This is not how this plays out. When you do it for the first time, as you saw when I did with Anti-Venom, you saw how the turn order was all over the place. It was completely different. Black Cat goes before Carnage. All the characters go first, and they always tend to just absolutely devastate your Carnage or your Venom, and then you can never catch up because you got to remember, you don't have a res, right? We had Anti-Venom for a second there, but you don't really have a res. That's something else I think Red Goblin's going to have to bring. He's going to have to bring a way to protect you on spawn, and then a way to revive you if things go sideways. Because even though I have offense now, there goes Void Knight. There goes Void Knight, right? I want to remind you guys, This is a 4-piece team. It probably shouldn't work on the newest raids anyway, but we also kind of feel like it should be able to do better than Rebirth. At any moment on this node, I always, and I mean I always feel like I'm a second away from death. If an Agent Venom hits one of my new characters at 4 stars, instant death. If Skrull gets popped by the Black Cat, he could instantly die. So what we're gonna need from Red Goblin is gonna be kind of a miracle, right? So is this team good? Yeah, there's a lot of hype behind Hivemind. I think they're a lot of fun. They're definitely more Pegasus than they are symbiotes in the amount of crazy burst damage that happens. We're not relying on bleeds like we have in the past, which I think is a fantastic change. But they're not a complete 4-piece. That's for dang sure. That's absolutely for sure. This is not a complete story. We're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to see what Red Goblin brings in to make this work. But like I said, revive, some sort of way to defend them on spawn so they can actually get going. Because if they can't get the engine rolling from the Carnage passive, anything can kill them. And like, so Venom's gonna die here. She's gone. That makes sense. She's 4 red stars. She's 4 yellow stars. That all makes sense. But you see what Firestar just did to my Venom? Imagine if he didn't have defense up. Instantly dead. So there's going to be some sort of way that Red Goblin gets them going and they never stop to go. Because even a gear tier 18 Carnage, even a gear tier 18 Venom can just get one shot out of nowhere. Right? And I don't like that we're not landing our debuffs on this Black Cat. Like, what is up with that? But I'd be very interested to know what you guys think about the Hivemind. I think those first 2 nodes, we got to use Anti-Venom. That was a fluke. I wouldn't look at that. I wouldn't think about that. Don't think about Scream. Don't think about Symbiote Spider-Man. It's not really a thing, okay? I don't want to give bad expectations. It's going to be Skrull. Is going to be the person you want to use. You're going to want to get it so you have his ultimate ups heading to this node. The best news that this team, or the best thing this team right now is going to do for you is that you don't have to now do a burn attack in order to do your first stack. So if you have 4 Hivemind with Skrull, and Skrull is ultimate up, you can go right into that boss node. You can do as good as you can possibly do. Right here, we're going to do 9 out of 16. That's after 2 burn attacks. We saw some wonky term meter garbage. I don't know what the hell is up with that. But you're going to be able to come in. You're not going to die right away to the Black Cat because your Skrull is going to give her offense down. You're going to flip her death proofs with the Void Knight. You're going to give her ability block, which is great, and then she's not going to one-shot your entire team with her special. Then your friends are going to get to follow up either with their Rebirth Skrull or with their Hivemind Skrull teams, and you're going to get it done. And I think that's good enough for the 4-piece, and I'm excited for what the 5-piece Red Goblin is going to bring. What I will say, this team is trash outside of raids right now. They suck outside of raids right now. And that's basically because, obviously, they don't have that crazy speed that they get in raids, right? So, I believe it's Void Knights in raids. In raids, on spawn, apply speed up to self and all Hivemind allies. They don't have that. Hivemind allies gain the additional health and armor. They're not getting that. On spawn, apply slow to the enemy with the highest speed. They're not getting that. They are super, and I mean super vulnerable to turn 1 devastation. What he does have on spawn, he generates 2 ability energy, and he can fill this character speed bar by 25%. That is a buff they gave to him that we didn't have in his initial kit stuff, which I think is really cool. So he does have initial speed bar, 25%. His ultimate is not applying ability block to all targets outside of raids, but it is for 2 turns, so it does have that Surfer-esque feeling to it, and it is flipping positive effects into negative effects on all targets. So it is still an insanely powerful ability on a character that's coming in with 113 speed and 25% speed bar. He could affect things similar to how Nightcrawler is affecting things, okay? So there's that. I think they're still way too vulnerable to our current Crucible teams, our War teams. I think he's still too slow at that 113 speed to be that crazy. But I am excited for the Hivemind team in total and what Red Goblin is going to bring. I think with the addition of Red Goblin, they very well could become a Crucible and War team as well. But we're going to have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think about Hivemind. How did you think they performed in the raid section? Those 2 nodes that you saw, the boss node. Unsurprisingly, this team cannot just walk through the boss node. They need that red goblin. A little bit hurtful, the way that Carnage and Venom can just get one shot, even at gear tier 18. Even though that Carnage is 2 diamonds, he loses half of his life before anything happens because of Firestar's passive. That's a little hurtful. And so Red Goblin's going to have to come in and answer that. I'm interested to know what you guys think his solution to that problem could be. And I look forward to reading the comment sections below. But for now, have yourselves an amazing day. Bye for now.
That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.